Well, good morning. Gosh, that light is so bright. I like to be in the spotlight, but not that bright. Can that light be turned down at all? Or am I just going to sparkle and shine? Philip, I would like to say something to you when you were singing the song about before the Alleluia. The light in you was so beautiful and so profound. It was really beautiful. And that's why, because the light in Philip is so bright, that he has built this choir. Because as we are the light, all are drawn to us. And isn't this choir something marvelous? We just thank you for it. And I don't know where Bob is in the band, but oh, isn't Bob wonderful and that whole band? We are blessed, blessed, blessed. I want to thank Deb always for inviting me, and my very, very special people here. You're all special, but Bo and Stephen are so precious to me. Every time I see them, something lights up within me, and I just want you to know that. I love you dearly. You know, yes, how special are these people? Wow. I am now the associate minister at Unity of Greenville, and in fact, I was on my way over there this morning when I realized that's not where I'm going. And I love it there, and I love the people there. But this is my home. This is where I really discovered unity, and I'm always so grateful to be here and to see those people, their faces, that have meant so much to me in my own spiritual growth, and to watch this whole church just blossom and bloom and wait for its new minister, which will be better than anything we can imagine, because that's how God works, isn't it? Always something better. Never less, always better. So I have a cute joke to tell you. Now this is going to reflect on Philip and the whole choir, because they were so inspirational at one practice. And whatever they were singing reminded this dear soul in the choir of how much she loved not only God, but Jesus. So she left the choir and got in her car. She was so inspired. And there next to her were some bumper stickers, and it said, "Honk if you love Jesus." So she thought, you know, I'm just going to put one of those bumper stickers on to remind people. So she placed the bumper sticker on and was driving, stopped at a stoplight. So she looked in her purse to get something, and unbeknownst to her, the light changed. So the man behind her honked, and she thought, isn't this wonderful? He loves Jesus, or they love Jesus. And so another person honked, and she said, thank you, God. All of these people love Jesus. How wonderful. Then the third person, and honking was going all over the place, and she was just saying, oh, thank you, Jesus, thank you, God, is a testament to how much everyone loves you. And that the light turned green, she went through and everybody else was stopped. Oh, so we do love God, we do love Jesus here, don't we? Jesus, the way shower, and God, the very essence of who we are, because that's the basic teaching of unity, isn't it? The one life of God, always moving, always making more and never less of itself. And it is your life, and it is my life, and it is within every grain and particle of sand to the brightest and most beautiful star. It is everywhere present, the one life, the one activity. So there's a wonderful story that I love. I've told it last week. But it's worth, because I thought about it a lot this week. And it's the story of Zusha, and he was a very renowned Hasidic rabbi. This goes back into the 16th century. He was a philosopher, he was a writer, just renowned by everyone for his wisdom and his deep and abiding love of God. So he was on his deathbed, and he was shaking. He was so frightened. And his students said to him, Master, why are you frightened? You have led such a wonderful life. And Zusha shook his head, and he said, you know, when I cross over and get before God, he said, if God asked me, Zusha, why weren't you the best Moses? I can say in all honesty, because I didn't have Moses' strength. And he said, if God says to me, Moses, why weren't you Solomon? Moses would say, or Zusha said, I would say to God, because I didn't have Solomon's wisdom. He said, but what frightens me is what if Zusha says, why weren't you Zusha? And he said, that frightens me. What if I wasn't the best Zusha? How do I answer? And isn't that our story, your story? No, we're not Moses, we're not Solomon, but what we are is this magnificent outpicturing of God. This person that each one of us are by name, may not be Zusha, but we are here to be the best person we can be. Are we meant to be the president or the queen or the king? That's not what we're here for. We are here to live our life in our lane, the life that we have been provided for us. And in that life, that's where our light shines. That's where our beauty shines. That's where unity teaches us. Yes, you can. Yes, you will. And yes, all things are possible with God because that is the promise. So as I was thinking today, isn't it gorgeous today? I couldn't believe it, finally. But, you know, I have my neighbor has a beautiful, huge crepe myrtle tree. And it's about 8 feet away from my front window, but it drapes over. And I love that tree. It just makes my soul happy. And the thought of that tree losing its leaves as winter comes always makes me sad. But this year I've had a different thought. First time ever. You probably all have thought of it a million times. It's my first time, so bear with me. I have thought, what if every leaf that falls is something that needs to fall away from my life? What if every leaf that falls is a symbol of something that's no longer serving me? You know, nature is so magnificent. Three of our 12 powers are divine order, and release, and life itself. So with divine order, you know, someone asked in our Tuesday class, which is a marvelous book study, they said, well, what is God? Well, what is God? We know God is all there is, but further define God. God is divine order. Divine order. You know, this universe is always in perfect order. The sun rises when it should and it sets when it should. The seasons come and the seasons go, always on time and in time. And that's our life too. Myrtle Fillmore said something wonderful. She said, nature is surely the glorified face of God. Isn't that beautiful? When we want to see God, where do we look? We look at nature. We look at the beauty of the flowers. We look at the peace, not of the world, but of this universe. And the glory, the peace that passes all human understanding. The beauty of the rose, the joy of the children. That's where we see the face of God. God is the divine order. She said, nature is surely the glorified face of God. See the beauty all around you. See the infinite manifestation of this glorious mind that is everywhere present. So we've got divine order taking place. We've got the fall coming. And before long, we will have a big wind and the leaves will start to fall. But can that be a symbol for us to look further at ourselves and what we need to release? And I always love people to say, oh, I have nothing to release, as their lives are falling totally apart. So don't you love it? We all have things to release. And the reason to release it is to prepare ourselves, because the universe, in its infinite wisdom, just isn't allowing leaves to fall somewhere. It is preparing the trees, in a symbol of preparing us for the spring to come, for the new life to come. And as the Gospel of Luke said, we cannot pour new wine into old wine glasses. So it's time to, with every leaf, if we can get that metaphor in our mind when we're walking and we see the leaves falling, what leaf, what old belief system am I still running that no longer serves me? Because I want to be a clear vessel. I want to be, when on my deathbed, if someone says to me, have you been the best, Barbara? I get the chills. It may not be a good sign here. I hope to God with all of my heart that I can say, given the life I was given, I did my best to be the best Barbara. And isn't that the truth for all of us? On our very deathbed, if someone says, have you been the best you've put in your name that you can possibly be? How much have you loved? How much have you helped other people? Elizabeth Barrett Browning, the poet, had a wonderful poem that she wrote now. She said, if we just help one person in our lifetime, that life has been a success. And each and every one of us have helped so many people. That's our job here, is to be there for other people. Not only ourselves, we've got to take care of ourselves, but how can I be of service to others? Jesus has gave us an example of life. He took care of himself, but he was of service to others. And we look at the great avatars and saints, they were all of service to others. So that's what we're here for. We are here, as Jesus said, be the light of the world. And that's what each one of us are here for. So it symbolizes release and let go. So what are old thoughts that are allowing us to, or keeping us from old growth? Well, I love the thought of victimhood, right? Victimhood. Wonder how many of our leaves might be filled with still victimhood. Really? Remember the song, Somebody Done Something Wrong to Me? What is it? Somebody Done Something Wrong song. And then we say, and they did it to me, because we know. Anytime we say somebody is doing something to me, we're back in a victim stage, which is the lowest form of consciousness. We want to get rid of all of those old dead leaves that says, well, if you knew what my ex-husband did to me. But that can go on for 30 years. I have heard people that have been divorced forever and still say, if you knew what she did to me. Well, let it go. It doesn't matter anymore. When the Buddha was asked if he was a saint or an angel, what he said was, I'm awake. That's Unity's message. Be awake. Be aware of the leaves that need to fall from our tree that no longer serve us. We want to be a clear channel for the voice of Spirit, which is always saying, come, come. You are more than you could ever imagine you could be. You are the very glory of me in expression. You are here to be my hands and my feet and my arms and my legs and of service to others. You are me in expression, and that is the truth. We are here for God, and we cannot be that when we are constantly blaming someone else. Oh, if you heard the news and what it meant to me and how it upset me, we can let it all go. It doesn't matter anymore. Let's clear out those old leaves and be here for one purpose. We have chosen this lifetime, and Charles Fillmore believed this. He was so ahead of his time. We can listen to Joe Dispenza or all the great people that are talking right now, the newer age of people, of philosophers and new thought and unity teachings, saying, you know, we are here for one. We have chosen to be here. Make no mistake, because sometimes we still think we are a mistake. Oh, but we're not. We are here for a purpose. We have chosen to be here at this time and this place, which is not probably the easiest time or place to be, is it? But we are here not to be victims of life, but to hold the candle of truth for the light of God. That one with God is always a majority, and all things work together for good for those who love God. So every time we see a leaf, perhaps we can ask, is that a leaf of victimhood, that I'm still blaming somebody else for something that's happened to me? Or am I going to take a step up and know that I'm nobody's victim? I am here because I have accepted this assignment at this time and this place to be here for a higher purpose. I am here because I am important, not from an ego standpoint, but I am important because I have accepted the assignment to be here now. and to be here, the face of God to all that I meet. Charles Fillmore said, let the God within you express itself through you and in the world around you, not as a victim, but as a victor to life itself. Sometimes we underestimate the power that we have, and yet we have. The Gospel of John said, I have come that ye may have life and have it more abundantly. So if we can release every leaf that goes by, do I have a victimization to let go? Because that's not who I am. That's not who I came to be. I stand tall and proud, again, not from ego, but because I have agreed to be here at this time in this place to make the world a better place because I am here. And again, this isn't ego. It is the I am of me, the presence of God in me to make this world a better place. And the second thing is, oh boy, this is a good one, is release judgment. I believe in Matthew it says, judge not lest ye be judged. It's all an inside job because as within, so without. If I'm judging you, it's because I've judged myself. So anytime we're saying, oh, this or that about this person, take a look inside. Let that leaf drop away because all judgment is self-judgment. And so it's time to let go. It's time to let go. One of the great stories that it changed my life. When I started preaching, now I have to tell you quickly because I don't want to run out of time. They only gave me till 2 o'clock today to preach. So just relax. Popcorn will be served later. I was so afraid when my older son was in kindergarten. They asked me to read to the class, and I couldn't do it. That's the honest to God truth. I was so terrified to speak to 5-year-olds. It sounds funny, but it wasn't. I mean, it was so sad. And so when I got into ministerial school, I had finished 3 years, and the last year, it was homiletics, which is the art of preaching a sermon. And I walked out of the class. I thought, I can't do that. I've loved every class. I can't do this. There's no way I can get up and preach a sermon. And as I walked toward my car, there was a voice that was so intense within me, said, don't do this. Go back. Go back, finish your class. I will be with you. And that is the honest truth. I will be with you. So I went back. The first year of preaching was horrific for me because all I did was judge myself. Oh my God, what did I say? I could have said it better. I didn't make sense. It just went on and on. And I spiraled with it down and down, constantly criticizing myself. And I thought, I can't do this because it's just not worth what I'm doing to myself. I was killing myself inside, really. And an older preacher, Dr. Dan Morgan, said to me, he came up to me and he said, honey, he said, you can't do this. And I said, Dr. Dan, there's no way. It's just so painful for me. And he said, an older minister once said to me, in fact, it was Norman Vincent Peale that he had spoken to. Some of you remember him. He said, when you give a talk, he said, when you leave the pulpit, forget it, because everybody else has to. And you know what? It helps so much. But isn't that the truth for all of us with judgment? We think, oh, what they've thought of me or what I said, I shouldn't have said this, and blah, blah, blah. It can go on ad infinitum. But the bottom line is everybody's so busy thinking about themselves, they forget exactly what you said. There's no need for us to worry about anything because everybody is involved in their own life. So release the judgment of yourself because you are whole, perfect, and complete. That is the promise. We come into this universe, into this world, because we are whole, perfect, and complete, and we forget. And we all know the story of the little girl that was outside of, they brought her baby brother home, and all she wanted to talk to that baby, and they were afraid to let her go because she was 5, and they didn't know, they didn't want her to pick up the baby. She kept it up, and finally, they let her go into the baby's room, but kept the door open. And what they heard her say was, quick, tell me, I'm forgetting about God. And isn't that the truth for all of us? When we get into judgment, we are out of that space of being here for God. We are into that ego, the ego part of us that wants to be perfect. Well, we're not perfect. We make mistakes. And you know what? We move on. Years ago, I talked to a very successful man who had been through a great deal in his life. And I said, how do you just keep going on with all that's happened? He said, you know what? I look at what's happened. He said, I think of what I could have done better. And he said, I just keep moving. And isn't that the story for you and I? Instead of getting in judgment, or when I go home today thinking of the 50,000 things I should have said or could have said or would have said, I can let it go. And I can see, you know, a friend of mine one time, then we'll move on, but said to me, I had been doing some voice work, and I'd been studying for several years, and I made a demo tape, and it was not great. It just was not great. And that's the truth. I'm not trying to judge. It just was not great. And a practitioner friend of mine listened to it, and he said, yep, you're right, not great. And I thought, oh, thank you. But he said, you know what, Barbara? He said, if this is for you, I don't care if you would have said A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If this was your position or this was your opportunity, they would have heard exactly what they needed to hear. So we can let go, because if we're here for God, then no matter what it is we say, if it's done in the right, not if it's an unkind thing, but if we do something or say something, but we're anchored in the presence of God, then people will hear exactly what they need to hear. Have you ever heard somebody say to you, oh, when you said this, it made such a difference? And you're thinking, not only didn't I say it, I didn't even know it, because something else takes over. So let go of the judgment of ourselves. If we are here for God, if we are here for good, if we are here to expand ourselves to be the best you can put your name in it that you can possibly be, then let go of the judgment of yourself. And instead of judging yourself, raise yourself, praise yourself. Again, not from ego, but from the fact that I have chosen to be here this time and this place, and I am here to be the presence and the power of God. And no matter what I do or say when I am anchored, it will be the right thing to say at the right time. Don't judge yourself. You are beautiful. You are perfect. You are complete. And you truly are God's gift to this universe. You are God's gift. Let go of the judgment of yourself and see the beauty of who and what you are. And the last thing I'd like to ask about falling leaves is separation. We're going to watch these leaves separate from their branches, right? We're not alone in this world. Sometimes we think as that leaf falls, I'm alone, my branch is empty, I'm all alone. We are never alone. Jesus said, it is not I, but the Father within that doeth the work. Unity teaches God is everywhere present. And God, all things are possible. So we release, we let go, and we open to life itself. We no longer are separate and apart from God. We think of the prodigal son and how he left because he thought that he could do something better with his fortune that he could ever. And haven't we done that sometimes? Not because of our fortune, but we just sometimes move away. I'm kind of on my own in this lifetime. Look at what's happened. I've trusted God. Look at what's happened to me. And we move away. But, you know, it was St. Augustine said, then it's not God that moves. It's we that move. We want to move back. Finally, the prodigal son knew that separate and alone, what was he doing? He was eating with the hogs. And he came back and he was welcomed back in. There really is no separation but the separation we feel. So we want to open up our lives and know we are never alone. We never walk alone. That beautiful song, I walk through a storm, and storms of life comes, and some are greater than others. But if we absolutely know that I will never walk alone, because that is the promise and that is the teaching of unity, This one life of God that flows in, through, and as all creation is my life, and it will never leave me or forsake me because I am with you. I am, the I am presence is with you always. So there is no separation. There is the victimhood we let go of. We are not victims. We are not victims. We are here because we have chosen to be here. And only if we choose to be victims are we. But we can step up because that is the lowest form of consciousness. I am not a victim. I am a victor because I am here to represent the presence and the power of God. I am here to be the face of God to that person that I may meet, that I may be the only person that has smiled at them, that has blessed them all day long. I am not the victim. I let go of judgment of myself because I see myself not as this earthling crawling along on earth, but this light beam, just as we saw in Philip's face today, that light that lights up every person in the world. And you know what? When we start thinking thoughts of God, think thoughts of good, we light up. And as we light up, everybody with us, near us, is lit up. Also, they are raised. When my life changed, and it changed years ago from my daughter-in-law, who came in one day and was taking a class in Unity of Center for Spiritual Living in Huntington Beach. She said, the universe is a friendly place. That had never occurred to me, that the universe is a friendly place, that there's no separation, there's no other, there's no judgment taking place. There is only God saying, you are more than this. You are so much more. You are here to represent me in all that you do. I will lift you, I will sustain you, I will maintain you in all ways and in all ways. And then the last one, again, no separation. There is God, not God and me. That's a fallacy. It's not God and me. And that's something we work on all the time because I hear it again and again. But it's God as me. That's the secret. That's the trick, to raise ourselves higher and higher. Not God and me, God somewhere out there floating around, judging me. No, God that loves me so much that out of itself, it has created me. Out of itself. Letting go of victimhood, letting go of judgment, letting go of separation. And then we ask ourselves, when it's time that we are on our deathbed and someone says to us, what are you afraid of? We can say, absolutely nothing, because I have been the best, you put your name in there, the best possible, Barbara, Jerry, whatever the name that I could possibly be. I have been here for God, for good. So I release, I let go, I let the Spirit run my life, and I am only here for God. Take a deep breath with me. And now just imagine the trees. They're not quite ready, but within a few days, you'll see the leaves fall down. And what leaves will symbolize what each one of us in our own lives need to release. Just take a moment. Until those branches are clear. Ready for the spring, new growth, new ways of being. Another deep breath. And so it is. Is God good? All the time, in all ways. And so it is. Amen.